Okay, so we come to the last part in this trigonometric equation, right? Finally, we have a chance to solve some trigonometric equations. Now, I have 3 points to share with you about solving trigonometric equation. A, the first one, do not cancel the zeros. Do not cancel the zeros. I put it in quotation mark because we shall see. Now, let's find one thing about zero. One thing about cancellation. For example, if 4x is 4y, then we can kind of cancel the 4, right? So we have x equals to y, which is good, perfectly okay, no problem with that. Alright. However, if we have kx equals to ky, alright, and then if we cancel the k so that we have x equals to y, that is not very good. That is not very good because there is the possibility that k is 0. If kx is ky, if kx is ky, then x is not always the same as y. Alright, there is the possibility that k is 0. So this is wrong. Alright, rather it would be like this. You should factorize, take away the common factor k times x minus y is 0. If two numbers multiply to 0, one of them must be 0. So it is k is 0 or x minus y is 0. That is x equals to y. That is the much better answer, right? So x is y or k is 0. Alright. If k is 0, then cancelling the k means that you cancel the 0. We all know that you cannot cancel the 0. If we have we start 0 with 0, right? 0 times 1 is 0. 0 times 2 is also 0. If you cancel the 0, then you have 1 plus 2, which is not a very good result, right? Which is obviously wrong. Now, it's wrong because you did something that is not allowed. You are not allowed to divide by 0. So in this case, you divide, if you cancel by 4 is fine because we know 4 is not 0. So you can cancel the 4. But if you are not sure whether it is 0 or not, you have to take account, you have to, account for the possibility that it is 0. Alright. So when it comes to trigonometry, let me show you one example. Alright. If we want to solve cosine x for theta between 0 to 360, alright, for x between 0 and 360 degrees, alright, cosine x plus root 2 sine x cosine x is 0. We want to do this, and this is example 1. Now, so if you try to cancel the cosine, so that is 1 plus root 2 sine x is 0. That is wrong. That is precisely the problem here. Alright, you should not cancel the cosine. It's not allowed to cancel the cosine. Alright, rather you should take out cosine as a common factor. That is cosine x, and then we have 1 plus root 2 sine x equals to 0. That means you have two possible solution group. One is cosine x is 0. The other is 1 plus root 2 sine x is 0. The second one this is either or, right? The second one develops into sine x is minus 1 over square root 2. Alright, it's either cosine x is 0 or that 1 plus square root 2 sine x is 0. Now each one will have their own answers, right? We'll refer to the previous video on inverse trigonometric function, right? If you have cosine x is 0, try to do it on the calculator. The calculator will give you x equals to 90 degrees. Alright? And it's not just one answer. We know that for cosine, there is a possibility that we have 360 minus and 360 plus. 360 plus obviously is out of range. We want theta between 360 and 0, alright? So only 360 minus. Alright, so there are two answers. And then for sine x is 1 over 2. You try this on the calculator. Calculator will give you minus 45. And minus 45 is not taken because we know it is out of range. For sine, we have 180 minus or 360 plus. Alright. So that is 180 minus negative 45 degrees. That is 360 plus negative 45 degrees. So after all, we have 4 answers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 answers. X will be 90 degrees from here, Alright, and what else? We have this one. This is 225 degrees. 225 degrees. Or this one, 270 degrees. Finally, we have the last answer. Alright, this one, and that is 315 degrees. There are 4 answers to this question. Alright, if you omitted the cosine theta equals to 0, you will miss 2 answers. Alright, so the lesson we learn here is do not cancel the 0. Alright, you are not allowed to cancel the cosine theta because there is a possibility that it is 0. Alright, let's take a look at another example similar to this one. Right, once again, we have x between 0 to 360 degrees. Okay, just like previously, we always keep using this range. Okay, x is lying between 0 to 360. We want to solve root 7 sine x plus 2 tangent x equals to 0. Alright, so it seems hard because sine and tangent, there's no common factor. But you can change tangent into sine over cosine, like this. Twice sine x divided by cosine x. Alright, so it goes back to a situation similar to the previous one, right? There are 2 cosine x here. You might want to cancel the cosine x, but do not do this, alright? Do not cancel the cosine x. If there's one thing you need to learn from this video in this part, is not to cancel the sine x, but rather take sine x as a common factor. Alright, so what is left behind is root 7 plus 2 over cosine x equals to 0. So you have 2 possibilities. Either sine x is 0 or the other factor is 0, which means that cosine x is minus 2 over root 7. Minus 2 over root 7. Okay? So you try to do this on the calculator. X will be 0. Alright, x will be 0 degrees. Or 180 minus. Alright, don't forget that there is a hidden answer from the inverse trigonometric function, 180 minus. And on the other side, when cosine x is minus 2 over 7, x will be 139.1 degrees, alright? Or alternatively, it's a cosine. So for cosine inverse angle, it is 360 minus, alright? 139.1. So altogether, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 answers in our range. X can be 0 degrees, or it can be 139.1 degrees, it can be 180 degrees, or finally it can be 220.9 degrees, right? So these are the answers to this example number 2. Okay, so these 2 examples highlight the point number A, right? Do not cancel the 0. Do not cancel things that are potentially 0. That's why I put it in quote. Alright, they are not obviously 0, but there is a possibility that what you have cancelled may be a 0. So that is the first one. Alright. The second thing I want to remind you is to add plus minus after taking the square root. Alright, sometimes you have to do this, sometimes you don't. If the square root is obviously a positive one, like it is the area, it is the radius, then you don't need to take plus minus. However, for trigonometric equation, this is especially important. Alright, so once again, for the same range, for x between 0 and 360 degrees, we want to solve this equation. Sine square x plus twice cosine square x, alright, is 3/2, 3 over 2. Alright. So once again, sine square, cosine square, there's no common factor. But we can make use of the trigonometric identity that we have sine square x plus cosine square x equals to 1. In other words, we can change the sine square x into 1 minus cosine square x, right? It's a very important conversion between sine square and cosine square. Alright, so now after this change in green, we have everything in cosine theta. So that means we have cosine square x is 1 over 2. So we have cosine x is 1 over square root 2. Alright. Oh wait, but not so fast, not so fast. Then I want to emphasize, when you take square root, be careful, there must be plus minus, alright? Do not forget the negative square root, alright? For trigonometric function, it's not so obvious, alright? Or cosine x is minus 1 over 2 square root, alright? Do not forget the negative square root, because it is not obvious to cancel the reject the negative value. So now you do it on the calculator. You have inverse trigonometric function that will give you 45 degrees. Alright. For cosine x is minus 1 over 2. The calculator will give you 135 degrees. Alright. But there's an additional answer. Alright. Once again, it's from inverse trigonometric function. It can be 360 minus. Alright. It can be 360 minus the angle from the calculator. So that's 35, 45, or 135. So there are 4 answers, right? X can be 45 degrees, like here, or 135, like here. Or how about this one, right? This will be 225, like here. And finally this one, 315, alright? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 answers to this question. If you want to, you can check these answers one by one against the original equation, right? To see whether these answers indeed satisfies the original equation, alright? So this is part B, right? Add plus minus after you take the square root. If you miss the negative sign, you lose these 2 solutions, right? The positive square root is as important as the negative square root. And then from what we learned in inverse trigonometric function, be sure to put back the hidden value, not discovered from the calculator. If you just trust the calculator, you will only have 2 solutions. You will lose the other 2, right? If you forget the negative square root, you will even lose 1 more solution. So there should be 4 solutions, but if you make mistakes here or there, it may down to 2 or maybe even down to 1. Alright, so this is part B. Alright. Now finally we have part C. Alright. Part C is a hint to help solve this equation, is to convert to tangent. Convert to tangent. We can use tangent to help solve all these equations. For example, right, that is example 4, it should be. This is example 3, alright. Example 4, for x between 0 and 360, right, it's always this range, right. We want to solve 3 sine x plus 4 cosine x equals to 0. Alright, we want to do this. Now you cannot, because they are not square, you cannot change to 1 minus cosine x, right? That's wrong, because it is not a square, so you cannot do this. Alright. The better way to do that is to convert it to tangent. So we have 3 sine x equals to minus 4 cosine x. Alright. And then we try to divide cosine x on both sides. So we have tangent x will therefore be minus 4/3, minus 4 over 3. Alright. So it's time to take up the calculator. X will be arctangent of 4 over 3, and the value from the calculator will be minus 4 over 3, right? The calculator will give you value 53.13 degrees, alright? But now you know we do not use this answer because it is not within our range. So we have to look at the alternate value. For tangent theta, the alternate value, they are 180 plus or 360 minus. Or 360 plus, 180 plus or 360 plus. 180 plus and 360 plus, the value from the calculator, this one and this one. Alright. So after all, we have these 2 answers. This one is not in range, so we do not accept this one. Alright, so there are 2 answers. Finally, write down x will be 126.87 degrees, or the other answer is this one. This goes to 406.87 degrees. Alright, so there are 2 answers. Alright, so in this video I share with you 3 tips in solving trigonometric equation. Number 1, do not cancel the zeros. Alright. Number 2, add plus minus after taking the square root. And finally, number 3, some cases you may convert to tangent to help solve it. So that is the end of this trigonometric chapter on trigonometry.